Cabinet decided on additional income streams for Sarawak. Dry taps affect 65,000 MIRI households, and global inflation outlook amidst US interest rate hike. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, everyone. You're with me, Untitled Chapter, and this is TVS Nightline. We begin with our top story. Creating additional revenue streams for Sarawak has been the State Cabinet's focus in outlining several decisions on the matter. Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said the decision will undoubtedly propel Sarawak to attain its aspiration of becoming a developed state by 2030.
Kena tadi mesyuarat Kabinet dan kita telah membuat beberapa keputusan yang akan saya rasa memberi sedikit tambahan pendapatan kepada negeri Sarawak.
He said this at the premiere of Sarawak's Department Gawai Raya celebration at the State Legislative Assembly Dun Complex on Thursday. In the same event, Abang Johari noted that the close cooperation between state leaders and civil servants had enabled the government to identify the state's direction post-COVID-19 pandemic.
Saya mengucap terima kasih kepada perkhidmatan awam di bawah pimpinan Dato' Ahmad Jaul Samion yang telah bekerja keras ketika kita menghadapi pandemik COVID-19. Dan alhamdulillah selepas pandemik kita masuk ke era endemik, keadaan endemik, dan kali ini kita dapat merayakan raya secara fizikal dan juga gawai secara fizikal. Sebab itulah kerjasama di antara perkhidmatan awam dan pimpinan negeri sangatlah erat. Hingga ketika kita menghadapi pandemik, we are able to identify the direction of Sarawak after COVID-19 in order to recover our economic performance.
On another development, Abang Johari received a courtesy visit from German ambassador to Malaysia, Dr. Peter Blumeyer, at his office in Putrajaya. Speaking to reporters, Blumeyer said Sarawak's green energy policy could be an attractive investment for foreign companies to invest in Sarawak.
Yes, I think there are possibilities. Germany is strong in new technologies for the green future, and we have many companies, not only big ones but also small ones, which are operating on this field. There's also the production of biofuel, as the Premier told me, which should be explored now. There are studies being done how for instance, algae could be transferred into biofuel. What contribution could German companies offer? So yes, in this field there's a lot which we can offer.
Bottled drinking water was sold out in MIRI on Thursday, as 65,000 households were without water supply following a leak pipe at Mile 7, Jalan MIRI Bintulu. This is the second water disruption incident in the city within the week. According to Northern Region Water Board, or LAKU, the leak occurred just within the vicinity of the previous leak site on June 9, adding that the incident occurred due to ground movement within the area, which dislodged the pipe's joints. Repair works of the water pipe began at 5 a.m. on Thursday and are expected to be restored by 5 p.m. tomorrow. 7 water trucks are deployed to help consumers affected by the water disruption. In a statement, LAKU advised consumers to store and use water sparingly. On Wednesday, the U.S. Federal Reserve raises its base interest rate by 75 basis points, its highest in 28 years, as it intensified its effort to tame high inflation and fueling fears of a recession. However, Finance Minister Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz clarified that the revision is not an indicator of a recession, but a moderation in gross domestic product (GDP) growth, assuring that Malaysian inflation remains within the 2.3% to 3.3% forecast this year. Now, joining us tonight is Chief Economist from Juai IQI, Shan Said. Shan, with inflation arriving in emerging markets, how do you foresee governments in this part of the world coping with inflation?
So for emerging economies for this part of the world, especially Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Singapore, and many other emerging market economies, I feel that the central banks have got room to maneuver. They are not panicking. The central banks have done a fairly good job in terms of tackling, monetary policy in COVID situation. And overall, many emerging economies, they have maintained structural stability in their currencies, which is very vital. Right now, if you look at US dollar, which is very strong, which is not good, not only for the US economy, but also for the emerging markets and also for the global economy. The stronger dollar is hurting the growth of many economies. And it is making a huge impact, especially creating inflation for emerging economies because the currencies are depreciating against stronger US dollar. And once the currency depreciates, it brings inflation to the economies. So I think right now the stronger dollar is pushing many economies to raise rates, and those economies are going into inflation.
Right now, do you think that emerging markets have enough monetary policy levers to tame the outlook?
At this point of time, I would say the monetary policy in advanced economies has been stretched. It has become ineffective. So many central banks, especially Fed, European Central Bank, BOJ, Bank of Japan, and Bank of England, they have been behind the curve because they have failed to control inflation. But on the other hand, you have emerging market economies where central banks still have a lot of room to maneuver, especially in terms of monetary policy. And in my opinion, policy levers, especially in emerging economies, can be effective because they have not been stretched to the limits. They can still make positive impact for the economies, and governments and central banks together, they can control this price inflation, which is creating havoc for the global economy.
Thank you, Shan. Shan will be joining us again tomorrow for his take on the global inflation forecast. Now back to local development. A new comprehensive guideline on issuing sentences for wildlife crimes in the state was published on Thursday. Its aim to assist the courts in meting out appropriate and consistent sentences to wildlife crime offenders. According to Chief Judge of Sabah and Sarawak Tan Sri Abang Iskandar Abang Hashim, sentences imposed in wildlife crimes were considered inconsistent and inappropriate.
The effectiveness of sentencing guidelines can be seen in two ways. Through the experience of judges and officers who use these guidelines in their daily court duties, and secondly, perhaps through a comprehensive study of the correct imposed in court in past cases. For the first matter, I'm sure our sentencing judges in Sabah will be able to share their experiences with their brothers and sister brothers in Sarawak as to how sentencing guideline has helped them prove the assessment in reading out proper sentences before the courts. The second method, I'm proposing that the court will use all the environment in both states to prepare a report on the consistency on sentencing for all wildlife offences under the existing legislation. This will help us to update the sentencing from time to time.
The guidelines were formulated by the Sarawak Court's Working Group on Environment (SWGE) in collaboration with WWF Malaysia. Abang Iskandar said the guidelines do not interfere in the exercise of discretion of the court when passing a sentence, adding that data used from the guidelines would be studied to assess their impact on wildlife crimes in the state. A total of 9,696 candidates scored straight A's in the Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM 2021, with a national average grade or GPN of 4.86 this year.
A lower GPN value indicates better performance. The GPN in 2020 was 4.80, 4.86 in 2019, 4.89 2018, 4.90 2017, and 5.05 2016. Meanwhile, Nur Zamani said 336,630 or 88.09% of the total 407,097 registered candidates were eligible to be awarded the SPM certificate, adding that a total of 975 or 69.10% of the 1,411 candidates with special needs CBK would receive the SPM certificate. When asked if she was satisfied with the SPM 2021 results, Zamani said in general it was an encouraging result because the candidates were the first cohort to follow the secondary school standard curriculum KSSM in Form 1 in 2017. In line with the implementation of KSSM, the SPM 2021 examination offers 95 subjects, namely 27 new subjects and 68 existing subjects, with a total of 180 examination papers. Meanwhile, 12 SPM candidates throughout Sarawak who achieved A+ in all their subjects. According to Sarawak Education Department Director, Datuk Dr. Ashar Ahmad, of the total, 1 student recorded 11 A+, 6 recorded 10 A+, and 5 candidates obtained 9 A+ in all subjects. Overall, the achievements of Sarawak candidates in SPM 2021 showed very encouraging results, and 596 candidates achieved at least A- in all subjects taken. He noted that a total of 29,166 candidates have been eligible to receive certificates and a total of 17 schools have achieved 100% of certificate-eligible candidates in SPM 2021. At the same time, Dr. Azhar revealed that a total of 5 students with special educational needs have also achieved excellent results.
During this pandemic time, it's also very tough for me to study because of the frequent online classes. But then I still never give up on studying, and I still work hard consistently to achieve the best result that I could.
Throughout MCO, I actually did not go for any tuition programs, but I relied solely on my wonderful teachers who had put a lot of effort into their teaching plans. And so on my own part, I believe it's quite important for a student to take charge of their own learning, be independent, and also be quite self-aware about their own needs and capabilities. So throughout online learning, I tried to discipline myself and also...
I actually used my forecast result to apply for my pre-university program. So I'm currently taking Ontario Secondary School Diploma, or SSD, which is a program based in Canada. So after this program, I'm completing it next year. So after this, I'll be furthering my studies in Ireland and taking on the course Forensic Science.
I will apply university, but if the apply cannot approve, then maybe my another choice is go to the Form 6, take my STPM.
Don't go anywhere, because coming up after the break, intellectual property rights to protect content creators and fisherman confesses to brutal killing. Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned.
Minggu ini dalam Delivery
You're watching TVS Nightline. Now, Sarawak Digital Economy Corporation, or SDEC, had organized an intellectual property awareness program in an effort to educate the public on the importance of protecting individual works and innovations. SDEC Research and Development Executive Hartini Mardan said it is crucial to raise awareness on the importance of protecting intellectual property, not only for researchers, but also small, medium enterprises, SMEs.
As such, Hartini wishes that through this program, it can build an awareness that an individual has the right to protect his or her intellectual property as the original creator.
We also need to support our SMEs because they have a good branding. We have a good local branding around. So we want them to know that you can protect this, you can do trademark for this, and then you can also do a licensing. Even though you're an SME, even though it's a local branding, it is possible. So you want everyone to know this fact. And next, yes, we will be having a series of IP programs as well in Sarawak. So this is just a start.
Adding further, she said many small and medium business entrepreneurs forsake this without realizing that it could potentially affect their business brands.
It is well known for researchers, but then for other than researchers, like for SME, for artists and artisan, for creative works. So those are the thing that we should focus on. For me, for universities, they don't have a problem for this. It's just that for other people other than universities, we also need to let them know. For Sarawak, yes, the awareness is still low. For SDEC, we are dealing with universities, we are dealing with businesses, we are dealing with people from creative industries. So from this program, we want to raise the awareness in all different segments that we have in Sarawak. We're not just focusing on just one particular group.
The attendees were made up of graduates and lecturers from the Curtin University, majoring in patents, utility innovation, and copyright in computer software. On a related matter, the government should continue to play a vital role in assisting the small and medium enterprises SMEs to promote the need of pattern in avoiding plagiarism issues. According to the Chief Executive Officer of Teraju IP Sendirian Berhad, Muhammad Faisal Ismail, this is necessary to empower the SME entrepreneurs.
Antaranya ialah membuat program-program awareness untuk menyedarkan rakyat ataupun penduduk Sarawak berkenaan dengan kepentingan harta intelek dan juga bagaimana harta intelek boleh menjana pendapatan tambahan kepada mereka. Dari segi bantuan juga boleh disalurkan, terutamanya dari segi bantuan pemfailan, kos pemfailan harta intelek dan juga kos R&D untuk menjalankan kajian-kajian terkini.
Adding to that, he said the government should also provide grants to innovative creators as a sign of appreciation. In today's digital era, SMEs can easily promote their products through social media platforms to further develop their innovation.
In today's world of exponential change, innovative companies must have a culture of inquiry. Kartik Siva, a highly acclaimed and respected international strategy consultant and branding expert speaker who have mentored more than 1,000 CEOs and startups, said curiosity may have killed the cat, but asking the right questions is a quality that defines a great business leader. And as such, this trait and embracing a culture of asking questions will often lead to a starting point of innovation.
In his speech at the Raising Aspiring Innovative Sarawak Entrepreneurs Masterclass at Tegas Digital Village, Kuching on Thursday, he said business owners could learn a lot from children. One of them is by asking many questions. According to him, children ask many questions because they are learning to see the world in new ways. This, he said, however, is counterintuitive in the high-pressured world of business where executives are expected to have all of the answers.
The truth is this: you are creative, you were born innovative, but you slowly bought into the idea that you need to be more logical, more analytical, and less creative. And slowly you begin to think it's only the artists who are creative, the designers who are creative, right? So that's really what slowly and progressively tends to happen. So what is innovation? Very simple. Innovation is as simple as the capacity to solve problems.
He cited one example of asking good questions. A traditional watch is usually defined as having an analog dial with hour and minute hands. However, a casual smartwatch is considered to be a wearable piece of technology similar to a computer. This innovation has made many lives convenient.
Suddenly, he asked this question, why should a watch be made of metal? Second question he asked, why should a watch be serious? Why can't it just be crazy and fun? Okay? Third question, the question was this. This was quite revolutionary. He said, why should a watch be durable? Why can't you just buy a watch and then throw it like a razor, a disposable razor after 3-4 months?
He further stressed that inquisitive culture is important in today's company as it challenges both the employers and employees in terms of curiosity, creativity, and deeper thinking. The process often produces fresh perspectives and innovative solutions.
I think I touched on. Pixar is one of the world's most innovative companies. Those days, all the animation studios were based in Hollywood. It was Disney and so on. But Pixar, when Ed Catmull and John Lasseter set up Pixar, they said, we are not going to be in Hollywood. And they said, we're also not going to be in Silicon Valley. They chose a place between Hollywood and Silicon Valley. They said, we want two things. We want art and we want technology. So in 1994, they created the world's first computer animated blockbuster film called Toy Story 1. Okay? That was a defining movie. And it was a huge blockbuster. And this is the only studio in the world where every single movie of theirs is what you may describe a blockbuster.
To build skills in active questions, he encourages business leaders to try a twist on brainstorming, which is called the question burst. Then define a challenge or opportunity faced by the organization and get everyone to participate, as every input can be valuable to the company. To sustain innovation, he said, by simply rewarding employees, which also produces motivational benefits, thus leading to more productivity.
Asking questions is an important part of the innovation process. By asking great questions, we will be able to come up with creative solutions, especially for the business sectors. I'm Lorenzo Isaac with videographer Aziz Soleh reporting for TVS.
Welcome back. Siblings Amarildo da Costa and his 41-year-old brother Osni da Costa have confessed to killing and dismembering British journalist Dom Phillips and his Brazilian guide Bruno Pereira. Police on Wednesday found human remains in their search for Phillips and Pereira in what they describe as a homicide investigation. Earlier on Wednesday, police had taken one of the suspects to the river where the two men had gone missing. Amarildo was arrested last week on weapons charges and is being held while police investigate his involvement in the case, while Osni was taken into custody on Tuesday night. A witness told the police that the brothers were seen meeting on the Itaquai River just moments after Phillips and Pereira passed by on June 5th. However, the suspect's family have denied they had any role in the men's disappearance. Meanwhile, protesters marched to demand justice and mount pressure on Brazil's government for the missing British journalist Dom Phillips and Brazilian indigenous expert Bruno Pereira. Phillips, a freelance reporter, was doing a research for a book on a trip with Pereira, a former head at Federal Indigenous Affairs Agency or FUNAI. They were in a remote Havari Valley jungle, which is home to the world's largest number of uncontacted indigenous people and invaded by illegal fishermen, hunters, loggers and miners. Police call it a key route for drug trafficking. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected our lives in many ways, including social activities such as volunteering. However, it also gave rise to virtual volunteering, which has become more popular thanks to the pandemic. Also called digital volunteering or online volunteering, it has been around since 1990s, but hasn't really taken hold until recently. On Sejahtera Asia tomorrow, Gaz and Fatah will be talking to Malaysia Youth Parliamentarian and Chairman of Club Belia Umma, Spanky Stephen, on the rise of virtual volunteer in Malaysia. 7:30 a.m. tomorrow, only on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Free View. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. Just a click away by heading on to our website TVSTVMY or follow us on our social media. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Doug Salit. Thank you for watching.